Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is trying to bounce from this crucial level of support in the short term following the US stock market with another short-term bounce. But while this is happening for Bitcoin in the immediate short term, Bitcoin is now once again retesting this massive area of resistance that we need to pay attention to while we're still seeing liquidity building below the price of Bitcoin in this Bitcoin liquidation heat map, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Solana, which is also now retesting this very important area of resistance, while the price of XRP is continuing to show signs of weakness in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at the US stock market. This is the S&P 500 index on the 1 hour time frame, and we can see that right now the US stock market is once again bouncing in the short term and once again pushing into new all-time record highs. And so, as I've been saying for many years now on the channel, crypto and stocks are highly correlated. It's not a perfect one-to-one correlation, but usually if the stock market, for example, sees another pump in the short term, like what is happening right now, usually that helps out crypto in the short term with usually some sort of bullish move, not necessarily a move towards all-time highs, but some sort of bullish move is quite likely for crypto, especially Bitcoin, if we're seeing decent bullish price action in US stocks. And so once again, that is what is now happening in the US stock market. We've already played out the previous overbought signal with that previous cool off over the next 1 to 2 days following that signal. And of course, that gave us more room towards the upside later on. And we did temporarily confirm a new bearish divergence with higher highs in the price, lower highs in the RSI. But since confirming that new bearish divergence, we've now just started to invalidate the bearish divergence with a new breakout in the price. But at least for now, the 1 hour RSI here is still currently forming lower highs, which means there's a possible new bearish divergence forming, but not yet currently confirmed. So overall, the US stock market is simply looking more bullish than bearish. We're obviously still in this larger bullish trend at all-time highs. And so remember, while this continues, that's good news for Bitcoin and crypto in the short term. And so with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today on the weekly time frame, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day. This super chain indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger correction or a larger bearish market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which over the last 1 day has not really gone away. But on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, in the somewhat shorter term, we have a smaller bullish divergence, which is also still currently active here on the 3-day time frame, telling us that most likely in the coming days or possibly weeks, we could most likely see a little bit more bullish price action or perhaps some choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So basically the price action that we've seen over the last couple of weeks is likely going to continue at least over the coming days or perhaps another couple of weeks. But as I always say, even if we play out a bullish divergence or any bullish signal, for example, we cannot ignore points of resistance along the way on the price chart where the price could potentially struggle at or reject from. And the next massive area of resistance that I've been talking about for a very long time now is still this area right here on the daily Bitcoin price chart, still sitting in between roughly 92,000 to 94,000, but especially in the higher end of that area, around 93 to especially 94k, we have a lot of resistance around there on the price chart. And we can already see this with the current daily candle. As you can see right here, it's very small on the price chart, but basically over this last 1 day or so, just over the last matter of hours, of course, we've tried to play out some bullish price action, a bit of a bounce in the short term, obviously following the US stock market. Once again, if stocks are pumping, that can help Bitcoin in the short term, as it did do here. But of course, we ran into this major resistance starting at around 92,000, in between 92 to 94,000. As we can see here, the moment we started to hit above 92,000, that's exactly where we started to find a lot of resistance, which is to be expected. But once again, if the US stock market is still looking like this, pushing into new all-time highs, that's telling us that most likely we could see yet another retest of this resistance soon enough. Maybe very soon, as in the coming hours, maybe in the next few days or so. But basically, in the shorter term, if stocks keep pushing into all-time highs like this, expect most likely a little bit more bullish price action into this area of resistance. But remember, expect struggle in this area in between 92 to 94k. But if the price of Bitcoin can eventually confirm some sort of breakout above 94,000 with at least a daily candle close above 94k and holding above that, holding that as support, in that situation, of course, that would be a bullish signal to watch out for. And so if that confirms, obviously not yet confirmed, but if we confirm the breakout above 94,000, the next target to watch out for would be sitting at roughly 100,000. But remember, at least for now, the price is still underneath this resistance. So we're still basically in this massive sideways price range in between this support and this resistance. Obviously, the support still sitting at around 85 to 86,000. And like I've said many times, resistance at 92 to 94,000. And something else to be aware of is, of course, the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, because right now we still have a decent amount of liquidity building below the price, specifically at around 89.1k. And now, once again, there's no such thing as a guarantee. Just because this liquidity is building there doesn't mean there's a 100% chance of that being hit, but there's a high chance. Usually, the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where we have a lot of liquidity to wipe out those levels. Once again, not guaranteed, but just don't be surprised if sometime in the shorter term, maybe, for example, if the stock market sees a little dip at some point in the next few days, don't be surprised if at some point we take out that liquidity at just above 89,000. And in order for me to really lose focus and lose importance on that level right there, I'd like to see a breakout above around 94,000 with confirmation. If we start breaking out above this massive resistance here, then it's likely we'll continue a bullish move towards 100,000 if we first confirm a breakout above 94,000. So we need to confirm that breakout in order to basically start to get rid of, or essentially start to reduce the relevance of this liquidity towards the downside, because of how significant a breakout above 94,000 would be if it confirms. And we also have a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern forming here on the daily time frame, as we can see right here. Once again, in order to confirm that pattern, which would be a bullish price pattern setting up a bullish price target, we need to see a confirmed breakout above 94,000. So that 94k level is definitely a crucial level to break out above for all of the Bitcoin bulls out there. In order to expect more bullish price action, we need a breakout above 94,000. And in case you're wondering, the technical price target for that potential inverse head and shoulders pattern, if we first confirm the breakout above 94,000, that will set up a technical price target at close to 104,000, basically in between 103 to 104,000. But remember, we would also likely find a resistance at 100,000. And remember, we first need to confirm the breakout above 92 to 94,000 to actually start playing out that sort of move. And so obviously that is a potential trading opportunity on the table, waiting to happen, waiting to confirm, but not yet in play, obviously. But in case you're wondering, this is the time to be set up, ready to go to take that next potential trading opportunity. Not financial advice, but if you haven't done so already, to actually trade Bitcoin and crypto, you need to be set up, ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, the first link below this video will take you to the 2bit crypto exchange, which is an exchange that I use myself, and you can get some exclusive deposit bonuses that are only available using that link below the video. And by the way, in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. Once again, first link below the video to 2bit. But if you want another exchange out there that I also use myself to also claim some extra bonuses on, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of major bonuses. For example, if you simply make an account using that link, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And on top of that, there's deposit bonuses here. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And so once again, a bunch of effectively free money from the exchange you can claim using that link just by depositing or completing KYC. But unfortunately, these bonuses are only available if you're using that link below the video to actually make your Pinex account. If you don't use that link to make your account, unfortunately, you can't claim any of these bonuses right here. So obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well get set up, ready to go. Take advantage of this using the link links below this video to those exchanges to take advantage of these bonuses. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and in the immediate short term, obviously we're continuing a little bit more of a short-term bounce, but overall, if we're looking at the structure of the Bitcoin dominance, we're looking very neutral actually, kind of just ranging sideways, obviously bouncing around somewhat sideways here. And so that basically means that, of course, depending on the day, some altcoins might be outperforming Bitcoin or underperforming Bitcoin, but overall, we're not really in a strong altcoin season or a strong Bitcoin season. Overall, a lot of the major altcoins out there on average are performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So at least for now, that's still the situation for the Bitcoin dominance. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is still holding this crucial level right here as support, which is sitting at more specifically around $3,040 to $3,050, but really as a broader range in between 3,000 to 3.1k is a crucial area of support, which at least for now is still acting as support. And in case you're wondering, if the price of ETH were to actually confirm a break below, let's just say $3,000 with a daily candle close below that level, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, we'll likely see a move down towards around 2.8k as the next massive level of support. But once again, at least for now, we're still holding this area at 3,000 to 3.1k, still acting as support. And as for resistance, I'd expect a lot of resistance at closer towards 3.3k if we actually see a further bounce towards that level. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, obviously right now in the shorter term, the price is basically just chopping around relatively sideways. Obviously over the last one day, we try to play out a little bit more of a bullish move, potentially with stocks and Bitcoin, for example, having a short-term bullish move. Once again, a lot of these markets are highly correlated. So if Bitcoin and stocks are playing out some sort of bounce, expect something similar for Ethereum and a lot of major altcoins at the moment. But while Bitcoin is still underneath this massive resistance at 94,000, don't necessarily expect huge bullish moves with a lot of bullish momentum for Ethereum and other altcoins. So any bullish price action is likely just a slight short-term bullish move, not necessarily a massive amount of bullish momentum on the larger time frame. So keep that in mind. Overall, we're actually looking somewhat neutral because we're lacking the bullish momentum, but we are being held by this level of support, which at least for now is preventing further bearish price action. Once again, the support at 3,000 to 3.1k. And so at least for now, and potentially over the next couple of days, that is still the situation in the shorter term for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame right now and over the last few hours or so, the price of Solana has just once again been retesting this crucial area of resistance here, still acting as strong resistance as expected, sitting in between around 143 to 147. And that's an area that I've been talking about for months now on the channel. Check pretty much any one of my videos over the last multiple months. Obviously, this is a significant area of resistance on the price chart. And obviously, over the last few days in my last few videos here on the channel, while the price was underneath that resistance, I said, technically speaking, because this bullish divergence is still currently active on the daily Solana price chart, which it is still the case right now as of recording this video, I said over the last few days, don't be surprised. In fact, potentially expect as a very likely scenario if we see a little bit more of a bullish move, just to simply retest this resistance again. And then considering it's still strong resistance, expect struggle or possible rejections from that area in between 143 to 147. And obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, that's exactly what has now happened again as expected, with this bullish divergence still playing out, trying to play out another bullish relief here, but running into the resistance and struggling in that exact area. So for now, that is still the situation. Bullish divergence still active, which means we could likely repeat that again with another retest, maybe in the next few days of this resistance right here. But eventually, if the price of Solana actually confirms a breakout, especially if Bitcoin confirms the breakout above 94,000, once again, a lot of these cryptos move together. So if Bitcoin, for example, confirms a breakout above 94k, while Solana breaks out above around 147 with confirmation, so a daily candle close above that level, in that situation, the next target or next major point of resistance will be sitting at around $166 to $170. And the current short-term support, in case we see another further rejection here, in that situation, we have a decent amount of support at just above $130, so around 132 to 133, acting as a lot of support there. And we also have more support at around 125 if the price were to actually get back down there. But if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, not a lot has changed over the last one day on the weekly XRP price chart. Obviously, this massive bearish divergence is technically still active on the weekly time frame, but we also still have a lot of support at around $1.80. So once again, not much changed on this chart right here over the last one day. But if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, we're still seeing a lot of weakness in the shorter term, obviously clearly lacking bullish momentum ever since we rejected from this strong resistance here, which is still an area of resistance in between $2.30 to $2.40. And obviously, while the price of XRP was running into that strong resistance, we were also hitting overbought in the daily XRP RSI, which was another signal joined together with the rejection from this resistance, pointing towards this pullback coming next. And obviously, that's what we've seen over the last 1 week or so. But just over the last few days in the shorter term, of course, we've been running into this support right here, which is specifically sitting at around $2.05, but really in between $2 to $2.05 is the area of support that I'll now be watching. And at least so far, as of recording this video, we're still holding that as support. And so once again, even though XRP is clearly lacking bullish momentum and clearly showing a lot of weakness in the shorter term, at least for now, because we're still holding this support, that is slowing down this bearish price action and potentially preventing much further bearish price action from happening while we're still holding this support. But in case you're wondering, if we actually break back below $2 with, say, a daily candle close below that level, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, would likely see a move at least down towards around 193 to 194 as the next support level. And below that, once again, we have significant support at pretty much exactly $1.80. But just for the next 24 hours, talking about the immediate short term here, I do expect the price to continue to test this support in between $2 to $2.05, especially that $2.05 level, acting as some key support in the short term, but don't really expect a lot of strength right now for XRP, at least not right now in the immediate short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation for Chainlink. We're clearly lacking momentum to either direction, but this bullish divergence for Chainlink is technically still active on the daily time frame, which means maybe in a few days from now, maybe over the next 1 week, it's possible we could play out either more sideways price action or potentially a little bit more of a bullish relief at some point. But once again, based on this alone, don't expect significant bullish momentum, maybe just a slight little bullish relief as we have seen over the last couple of weeks. And so with that still playing out, obviously continue to expect that to play out at least in the coming days or possibly another 1 or 2 weeks moving forward. So sideways price action or slight little bullish relief. And as for support and resistance to watch out for, expect resistance at around $13.30 to $13.50, which right now we are testing that resistance and we are seeing a lot of struggle, at least in the immediate short term, in that area, which is to be expected. But if the price confirms a breakout back above $13.50, in that situation, expect more resistance at around $14.10, and above that, also a lot of resistance in between $14.70 to $15. And as for support to watch out for, we still have a decent amount of support at around $12.60 to $12.80. And below that, we also have a lot of support at pretty much exactly $12. But honestly, if you're expecting a massive high momentum movement towards the upside, I'll not be really expecting any of that for a lot of these major altcoins unless we start to see a major breakout for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts confirming a breakout above 94,000, then that will likely be a bit of a catalyst to help a lot of these altcoins also play out some more bullish price action. But until we see that for Bitcoin breaking out above this resistance, at least for now, while we're below that area for Bitcoin, still expect some relatively boring price action in the short term for a lot of these altcoins. And so in other words, this is potentially the calm before the storm again for the crypto market. So this is the time to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And once again, if you're using the links below this video to those exchanges, you can claim massive bonuses that are only available using those links. So you might as well take advantage of that. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what direction the price goes, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.